It's Tuesday on YourView. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Wait, get in the building. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm not going to hail myself today. I'm going to hail you, your success, and your how was it? Please tell me. You know, it was online. I was just seeing your outfit. Your first outfit was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Glam girl.
with the gele and everything. Oh man, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Was that Glam Girls?
Yes.
Oh, very, very
She took
nice.
her time.
No. The color matched your body, everything. I'm sure Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown would have said, stay here.
Close.
Where are all those men who can stay?
She was everywhere.
How you doing, YK? Good to have you back.
Good to be back.
How's your trip?
It was fine. It was fine. My eye gave me problems, but I thank God I can still see.
Okay.
So
God is great for that.
How you doing, busy? Let me come to you.
I'm doing
I like
well.
your nails.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm getting ready for an event. So
this is not for Saturday.
No. I changed it yesterday after the show. So African Producers Network will be having a trade fair on the 22nd and 23rd. That's this Thursday and Friday at Adeyemi Bero Auditorium, Alausa, Secretariat Ikeja. I'm one of the producers in Africa, by the grace of God.
Nice.
I'm going to be exhibiting there as well. And they're having vendors from all across Africa: Uganda, Kenya, Ghana, Cameroon, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Ethiopia, Congo, Tanzania, Burkina Faso are all going to come with their products.
You're Pan-African now.
Yeah, baby.
Where is this? Where is this? Because me, I like
Alausa?
Thursday and Friday. Yes, Thursday and Friday at Alausa. Just come. You will shop in my store first, so then you now go round.
Once you
Which
drive,
kind of nepotism is
once you
this
drive
for
to
now?
Yes,
Alausa.
so am I not the one bringing you down? You shop there, you go around, you see very beautiful pieces. I think the last one we did, we're able to get some very beautiful African pieces. So gather your money, come and shop.
Gather
Very
your money.
affordable.
Send me the address.
very
I want to
affordable.
come.
Once you enter Alausa, just turn right.
Yeah. Very
How you doing, Mariam Longe? How you doing?
Amazing. I'm good. Nothing to gist about. Too.
Did you do your nails in the same place?
No, this was
Yeah.
Nails were for Saturday.
Hey!
Girlfriend was blinging.
Mariah told us it's Owambe. And you know, every time she'd be like, Asa, Isaleko, Eko. I was like, hey, God, this just girl, let me not go and embarrass my people there. So figured out, okay, they like long lashes, long nails, makeup. Just come and be flamboyant. So I just went flamboyant.
Went all out.
Went all out.
I haven't seen your
Yes.
outfit. I have to look on.
You have to check it out.
Hey.
The nails are just tip of the iceberg.
My auntie, I have an aunt, Auntie Musum Oni. This is Oni. She sent me a message. She said, Mariah, I missed everything she said. I love the Owambe concept. Omoare of Lagos. I never carry love.
Yes, sir.
Anyways,
was good.
I'm really excited. Let's go on a quick break now. When we return, look at the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Tinubu appoints service chiefs, CDS, NSA, IG, CGC. Forex policy will open floodgates of foreign investments. Ozekome allowed doctors access to Kanu. Subsidy palliatives plan ready in August. LPOB INEC clash. Lawyers clash again in a tribunal. President's reforms may double GDP growth next year, says CBN Deputy Governor. President for Global Summit in Paris, and Adebutu's response struck out. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Last week's harmonization of foreign exchange markets in the country by the Central Bank of Nigeria, according to the chairman of Bati Airtel, Worldwide Suntil, he says that will open floodgates for foreign investments. He also said that the new policy will give foreign and local investments or investors more confidence that an enabling environment has been opened in Nigeria. The measure had moved Nigeria's economy into global reckoning. He also revealed that Airtel yesterday rolled out the 5th generation, that's 5G service in the country, and they would also invest about $400 million yearly into that project. Said they've done over 700 million. They will be doing about 700 million in the next 2 years. So he said the new exchange rate policy, which was usually an obstruction to foreign investment, had been tackled. That's one of the first things that the new president did. And they are all excited. Said he opened up the markets. The international community was excited about it. Now we can have a lot of foreign investors come and invest in this, and, you know, to make way for other employments.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Yeah. So I've got, yesterday we have a Central Bank of Nigeria Deputy Governor, Kingsley Obiora, and in an interview with Bloomberg, he was talking about, you know, the economy since since the inauguration. He said that at the inauguration, we remember the president had said that he was hoping to, you know, grow the economy by about 6%, and KPMG had given a report saying that it was overly ambitious, but that's Mr. Kingsley Obiora, says he's optimistic this is possible. He says just, you know, with the recent policies that he's put in place, removal of fuel subsidy, the unification of the forex, floating of the currency, all these things would, you know, go a long way in improving the economy. He says he's already saying that it would increase by 3%, and that by the next year, when this current president will be drawing up his own budget, he is quite optimistic that we'll get to the 5 to 6% that the president was talking about. He says that, you know, he just mentioned all the different policies so far, and he says this would really go a long way in improving our economy.
Okay, so President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be going to France today on his first official foreign trip for the signing of the new Global Financial Pact in Paris. This is announced by the Special Advisor on Special Duties, Communication and Strategy, Mr. Dele Alake, said that he'll be going off June 22nd to join the world leaders in Paris, France, to renew the signing of a new Global Financial Pact. Now, what is this pact about? It places vulnerable countries, such as Nigeria, on priority list for support and investment following the devastating impact of climate change, energy crisis, and after effects of COVID-19. So once they get in that pact, hopefully we'll be on the priority list for global support.
Okay, I took the INEC and Obi's lawyers. The lawyers of INEC and Peter Obi clashed yesterday with raised voices. This was because Peter Obi's lawyers are claiming that the INEC lawyers were frustrating their efforts to get some certain documents, and that they had applied for the documents, they had paid for the documents, but they were not able to get the documents. So this led to a shouting match between the two lawyers, because the INEC lawyers now said, look, stop blame where you are not. If you do your work, it's not us frustrating you. Go on.
INEC lawyer also said that they've also provided all the documents that Mr. Peanut, and that all the ones that even carrying right now is not from us. It's not from us. What do you mean? But you see, we just can't wait for this over.
It was the lawyer of the president and the vice president that said, okay, don't worry, I will calm down. I will settle the matter.
Okay, moving on quickly now to the Punch. Tinubu removes security chiefs, customs boss, appoints Ribadu, Egbetokun, and others. Family demands justice for slain Lagos cop tackles Navy. Tribunal, again, LP, INEC lawyers clash over poll material. Pilgrims face uncertainty as Saudi Arabia set to close airspace. FG, Labour set up minimum wage committee. Airfare skyrocket as exchange rate hits 702 naira to the dollar. And finally, Tinubu woo's foreign investors meet Bill Gates and Airtel founder. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Airfares in Nigeria routes to various destinations in Europe, North America, Middle East, and other foreign cities have skyrocketed as exchange rates for ticket pricing hit 702 naira to a dollar. This was according to the findings by the Punch. And you know that after Central Bank had, you know, collapsed all the markets together, commercial banks, you know, are now selling at commercial banks are now selling the foreign exchange at market-determined rates, not that the rates that CBN usually peg on it before. It was a good development to some people, but right now it's going to be affecting rates. And, you know, this is like the peak period. A lot of people are getting tickets now to travel for their summer vacation. This would affect them. Some of them may not be able to travel anymore. And because of this pricing now, it's the consumers that will have to bear the brunt of the price increments. And that will also affect agents. So if plenty of people are unable to go for summer vacation, the agents also will not be able to make money. But they are saying because of the way the dollar is, it may also go back and forth, and people should just be a bit patient.
Yeah, so we have the federal government on Monday said that it has set up a steering committee with you know, the different labor organizations to look at the various demands presented to it by organized labor. So the Special Advisor to the President on Communications, Special Duties and Strategies, that Dele Alake, and the presidents of the Nigerian Labour Congress and TUC, that's Trade Unions of Nigeria, so have disclosed that they've had various meetings. So this steering committee are going to look at the various demands made by labor organizations because of the fuel subsidy removal. And some of the things, they say that they are hoping that they should have concluded all conversations, you know, and guidelines by 8 weeks. And some of the things that they'll be looking at is, they said they're going to be why did I miss this? So they're going to be looking at, they said, some of the key aspects of the talks, such as rollout of converted mass transit vehicles running on compressed natural gas, as well as those to review the minimum wage. So these are the two main things that they will be looking at. So in 8 weeks, we would know what the palliatives are since the removal of fuel subsidy, and also what minimum wage is going to be.
Okay, fantastic. I was going to take the Saudi Arabia's imminent closure of their airspace. According to this report, about 3 days to the reported closure of the Saudi Arabia airspace, thousands of intending pilgrims are still stuck in the Lagos airport in Nigeria. According to this report, pilgrims going through the licensed Hajj and Umrah operators were stranded at different airports across the country. Flight delays by Arik Air affected a number of pilgrims. The airline announced on Monday it was set to airlift pilgrims, although others have said that the report also claims that out of the 73,000 who were registered, 62 have already been airlifted, and they have about 10,000 left to leave. But they're quite worried because if Saudi Arabia closes the airspace, it will be quite difficult for them to, and many of them are sleeping in the airport. This is so unfair. They need, I think one of the things we need in this country is proper organization. We do it at parties, traveling. We are not organized. We just frustrate each other. You know, there are ways of doing things. Either you provide hotels for them, provide them some kind of stipend or something for them to be okay. You know, it's just very unfair. But I hope the next few days they're able to get back.
Yeah.
Let's go on a quick...
Okay, I'll take it off.
We're going to quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so Waike, you had a story?
Yeah, the family of the slain police officer that are asking for justice. The man, Hezekiah Abiona, was on a checkpoint, was at a checkpoint when he stopped the naval officers who are in Mufti, the naval ratings, Onyekachi Egwin and Nnamani Anointing. He stopped them, and then they started fighting, and in the fight, he was stabbed and he died. So they arrested them, but nothing has happened. Since December 3rd, nothing has happened. They haven't received any visit from the Navy. No.
This is the Nigerian Navy.
The Nigerian Navy, you know, and they were police. He was a policeman. The family, the mother has 5 kids, and all of them are young, except the first one who is in Taishulani University. And they're just begging that, please.
Yeah, justice.
Demanding
justice, please.
Okay, any other story in Punch? Let's move on quickly now to Daily Sun. Hurricane Tinubu sacks and names service chiefs. IPOB alleges plots by Southeast politicians to abduct its leaders in diaspora. INEC Amazon engineer clash on non-transmission of results. Abia North, Kalu lights up 48 communities. IBB, Abdusalami, Jonathan, Atiku, Obi, others eulogize Dokwesi. Drug war, over 31,000 arrested, over 5,000 convicted, 6.3 million kg drugs seized in 29 months, says Marwa. ASU tackles FG on student loans, and tinubu to attend Global Financing Pact Summit in Paris. Okay.
I can do ASU?
Go ahead, please.
Yes, so the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, dismissed the recently signed Student Loan Act as impracticable and unsustainable. We know that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, signed into law the Student Loan Bill on Monday, June 12th, in fulfillment of a promise he made in his campaign. So the spokesperson for the federal government, Dele Alake, who made the announcement, said the funds would be domiciled in the Ministry of Education and would only be assessed by indigent students of tertiary institutions. They also said that the beneficiaries of the loan will commence repayment after 2 years of completing the NYSC. But the ASU president, Emmanuel Osodeke, said the condition to access the loan was not sustainable. 90% of Nigerian students will not be able to meet those stringent requirements to access the loan. And beneficiaries of similar initiatives outside the country are already committing suicide due to debts incurred by the loans. And so he would have preferred that they give a grant, since it's going to be coming from the federal government, instead of loans, so that you're not graduating and thinking of all the gbese that you have to start paying. He also mentioned that, the loan also says you must have 2 guarantors who are level 12 officers in civil service or a lawyer of 10 years. Now, how many people from those local villages have people who can be their guarantor to access these loans? That it is not something that is sustainable for Nigerian students. And so we must be very careful. We should look at what is happening all over the world and see how the loans have really affected the people who got the loans. Our grants would have just been better. So I think when we get somebody who would break this down, we would have
that some when we look at policies, there are some things we disagree, but to bring up people committing suicide because they have to pay student loan, that is just so.
Oh, we'll discuss this when they have the opportunity.
Anyway, NDLEA is saying that, so they're marking the week-long activities for the 2023 World Drug Day. And, in one of the days we had the Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Mara, that's the chairman of NDLEA. He said that 5,147 suspects drug users have been prosecuted and convicted, while over 6.3 million kilograms of assorted drugs have been seized within 29 months. They said no fewer than 31,675 drug offenders have been arrested in these 29 months. They also said over 11,000 other cases are still pending in court, while 23,725 drug users have been counseled, rehabilitated, majority of them through brief interventions. And, he says that they are working, that there are 2 parts for this drug war. There are 2 sides. There's the demand side and there's supply side, and they're working really hard on the supply side, meaning while arresting these drug pushers and mules and drug barons, but there's also the demand side, people who are, and that needs psychotherapy, needs counseling. So that's another part that they're working on and investing largely on. They said they've even gotten donations, so now they have rehabilitation centers, and they're also able to do what they call teletherapy. So that's toll-free, round-the-clock call centers. You can call them and get therapy over the phone. So they're saying that they've been working so hard, investing so hard, in this drug war.
Okay, so according to Daily Sun, Hurricane Tinubu, President Tinubu has approved the immediate retirement of all service chiefs and also named their replacements. According to this report, the appointee is the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General C.G. Musa. Chief of Army Staff is Major General T.A. Lagbaja. Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral E.A. Ogala. Chief of Air Staff, AVM H.B. Abubakar. Acting Inspector General of Police, DIG Kayode Egbetokun, and so many others. They will also announce various appointments under the Brigade of Guards. And but more importantly, it was quite noted that the appointed service chiefs and Inspector General of Police and the Controller General of Customs are to act in their positions pending their confirmation in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Okay, moving on.
Listening to the radio today, and I just hate the way this country is so divided, because people were calling, oh, there are no Igbos, there are nobody from the southeast,
But there is.
There's a man from
There is. The Navy, the Rear Admiral is from the southeast, you know. So I don't know who started this polarization of Nigeria. You know, we didn't used to be like this before that. I just wish we could just work together as one. You know, I
think we'll eventually get there. You know, there's a lot of wound out there,
so.
And it's going to take time for it to heal. And eventually it will heal. But gradually, once the country begins to heal itself, the people also will align. So
I think the government in power should also
be deliberate.
Yes, about making sure that.
What I also heard, right, is that the Brigade of Guards is usually somebody close to you. So those are the ones that are the last line of defense for the president.
Most trusted
and most trusted. So it's likely to bring in people with he knows.
Of course.
Exactly.
So maybe that's why, because of they listed the names, it now looks like, oh, it's from his own southwest. But really, those are the core 6 are being well spread out across the country, except for the middle belt.
Yeah.
Which we will discuss
Later.
In camera.
You two can come out.
We are going to discuss it. We are waiting.
Somebody said, I will not talk about Edo.
Yeah, we are waiting.
South is there.
Vanguard. Let's move on. Tinubu sack service chiefs, discussed that already. Airtel flags off 5G service, pledges universality of subscribers. Attempt to destabilize Osun, Governor Adeleke, ex-Senate spokesperson, trade words. Nigeria spends over $500 million on importation of dairy products yearly, says Obaseki. Defective buildings traders lament as Lagos government demolishes Alaba market. NGE President Akpabio Abdulrazak rather all congratulate Eze Anaba. Subsidy, Labour federal government set 8 weeks deadline to conclude dialogue. Presidential poll, no technical glitch on February 25th, Amazon tells court. Okay, which story are we doing here?
Oh, I have a human interest story. It says Anambra State Police Command rescued 9 girls aged between 15 and 25 years being used as sex slaves in a hotel in Oka.
Look at that.
And arrested the proprietor of the hotel as well. So the State Police Public Relations Officer, Mr. Tochukwu Ikenga, said the action of the police followed an information they received from Anambra State Ministry of Women and Social Welfare about the happening in that particular hotel. So he said the ladies confessed, the young girls said that they had brought them and, you know, assured them of getting good jobs to help alleviate their poverty and that of their parents. And they came from Ebonyi, Enugu, Akwa Ibom, and Rivers State. So now the police command is also in collaboration with the Anambra State Ministry of Women and Social Welfare to ensure that the girls are taken care of and returned, you know, safely to their parents and their guardians. And they are, you know, saying that they condemn the act. They frown at anything that takes advantage of vulnerable persons, especially young girls. And when individuals notice that these sort of things are happening around them, we must begin to report to the police so that they can, you know, take charge and handle everything. The case has been also transferred to the Criminal Investigation Department.
Okay. Our final paper, if we can get there, let's see. Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story of not taking Tinubu meets Bill Gates. Dangote pledges to prioritize health, Nigeria's safety. Data protection law breach, banks, telcos, others to pay huge fine. And only presidential election results could not be uploaded. INEC presiding officers tell court. Board of parastatals, agencies, institutions all dissolved. Okay, let's find a story of not taken.
We say our president met with Mr. Bill Gates and Aliko Dangote on Monday, and what they discussed really is just how to prioritize the health of, you know, Nigerians, the health and safety of Nigerians, and the president has pledged that he will do that. He also agrees that for a country to develop, the health of its people, particularly the workforce, is critical. And he also, you know, acknowledged the partnership between the Bill Gates Foundation and the Aliko Dangote Foundation and the work, and also commended the work that the Bill Gates Foundation is doing in Africa as regards, you know, eradication of polio, fight against malaria, and all the other things. And he's just acknowledging them and saying that this is one of his main targets as well, to make sure that the health of Nigerians are safeguarded. It's safeguarded.
Okay, I think that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. The Nigeria Police Force has warned pranksters to be ready to face the consequences of some of their pranks. According to the police, the activities of the pranksters create more problems for the police on security management than what those pranksters gain from such pranks. Also, they will be made to face the wrath of the law for any harm their actions cause. Now, we'll be having later on this conversation the first public relations officer himself, PRO CSP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, to shed more light on this. We'd like to hear your thoughts first. What are your thoughts on these pranks by these pranksters? And have you ever experienced one, or have you seen one? Which one have you seen that really that was quite disturbing to you? I'd like to hear your views on this and your thoughts. You can call us on the numbers on your screen: 081-270-53687, and the other number that's also on your screen. So let's ask the ladies now. What are your thoughts on this? You see, you know how we Nigerians, we like to copy, because we know there's prank TV abroad, and even on cable in Nigeria, there are some shows where they play pranks. So I remember I used to like pranks TV back in the US there. So we just see something abroad, we travel abroad, we see it, and say, I can come to Nigeria and do exactly the same thing. But sometimes we forget that we have to modify it. You know, the person you are pranking abroad, he has belefu, you know, the trouble of the world is not, he is not on shoulders. So when you prank him, he can still come up. Yeah, enough shock has over. But here, there's a way that you prank. Let me tell you. When you prank in Nigeria, yes, you might prank certain people that might feel it, but the way is the different scenario. So many people have actually complained that it is wrong. Some says, hey, can't you take a joke? Others are saying it's just a joke. Why are we so we lack some sense of humor? So what are your thoughts on this?
What I was going to say, Morayo, is that if they were doing the pranks like the ones that they are watching abroad, it's different. People will not complain the way they are complaining. How can you do a prank and you go and slap a policeman? I've seen where they've done prank and they go and slap soldier from behind.
And ran away.
There was one, the soldier caught him, beat him very well.
Beat the prank out of him.
Beat the prank. You know, those are evil pranks. There's one prank where these girls went for hookup and they came out dressed like juju people that they were going to. The girls started shouting, "Blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus!"
She fainted.
One fainted. Yes. The other one punched with them.
Yes, I saw that.
That one was ready. You know, people could have died.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
People could, so they have carried it to another level of pranksterism that I've never heard of before or never seen.
Yeah.
You know, we're naturally extremists.
What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
Do you think we should be into?
I personally don't like pranks. I will not prank you. Please don't prank me. Because you can prank me and I'm not in a state of mind to take it at the time. You don't prank people and they lose a lot of things at their expense. I saw one recently where they pranked, they would just say run and everybody's running. This woman was selling fruits. And when they said run, somebody started running and everybody was running. All her fruits just fell and scattered, and I'm sure there was no compensation for that. So we know that we want to copy, and you know the way the world is going, everybody wants likes and views. They want social media accolades so that they are making the numbers. If they put it on YouTube, so that YouTube will pay them. So you do that at the expense of other people. And I don't know how they do it abroad, but I know there are systems that will query them if those people are not duly compensated. I know that they put those things in place. Now, the issue of, for instance, making skits and using guns, you know, I remember when I was shooting Mami during January, I wanted to use a gun, the fake one. We had to get a license to be able to use it. Now, we're even shooting inside, though, we're not shooting outside. So if you want to do that, we must have, that's where the government comes in, a system where the people who are doing the skits are protected. They are licensed to do that sort of skits. So it's not everything that should fly. It's not everything we should be excited about. You know, when you're watching it and it's not you who is being done to, you will laugh about it. But can we ask ourselves, if this person has done this to me and I lost a lot of things, you know, I'm just trying to organize my life and then I'm losing my wares that I've displayed for sale, and then you tell me it's a prank. Well, sorry, it's a prank. And then they write some note and give to you. We need to be very careful. And this is where there must be systems that will help protect the people that are pranked, protect the people that are pranking as well.
Yeah. But you see, sometimes I like to also think that there's a system in place, but we just choose not to follow it. Because for somebody to ask you to go and do it, get a license just for it. I mean, there's something in place where you cannot even have these things. So many Nigerians don't even care to find out, am I allowed to even prank? What are the rules surrounding something like this? Mariam, what are your initial thoughts on this?
We really don't, you know, we don't really educate ourselves. That's the truth. A lot of us just get up and do stuff. And we also see when government steps in, you know, we feel that they're trying to gag us, they're trying to stop us. They're not. We never try and put other people into consideration, because some of the pranks are just morbid, evil pranks.
Honestly.
How it elicits laughter from people, I don't even understand. How do you put someone on the ground, drop the person, there's blood all over the person, you have blood all over you, and you run? What exactly do you expect people's reaction to be to that? This is a country where we're constantly talking of ritual killing, children being beheaded and, you know, bodies being taken away, their organs being taken off. The government is fighting it, the police is on the case of ritualists, and then you come and do that. What exactly do you expect people to say or do when they catch you after doing that? You want to stand there and then laugh with us and say, oh, I was just joking? What is funny about ritual killing? What is funny about putting some people in a room and coming out as if you're a ritualist? What message are you trying to pass? It makes no sense at all. There are pranks I have seen also abroad. There's this laugh out loud, very funny guy that does really nice, cute, lovable, teachable things, you know? You even learn from it. I don't get the idea of Nigerians wanting to just be so extreme, you know, you push evil so much in such a way that, anyways, I feel that it should be regulated. The content should be regulated. There are some pranks that you cannot do. There's some messages you cannot send. That's one. Two, we need to educate ourselves on what our government expects of us when we go out to take content. Even just taking people's videos, putting them in such a vulnerable position, taking their videos and then broadcasting it should cost you something. It should not be free. You take my image when I am not expecting something, you embarrass me, and then you're able to now use that content to enrich yourself or popularize yourself. It must mean something.
You're even supposed to sign a release.
Yeah.
You are supposed to.
But
all those people Muraya, that you see on all those, they all sign releases before they are put on air.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll see how we can get our PRO to also make a few comments on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing pranks. I mean, there was an article by The Cable, was an article talking about a lab technician, Kevin Berlin, in the U.S., in Kentucky, U.S., saying that he had warned his colleagues that due to his medical condition of anxiety disorder and panic attacks, he really doesn't like his colleagues to prank him at any time or organize any kind of surprise. Unfortunately, the company, despite Kevin's warnings, went ahead and pranked him and threw him on a surprise birthday party. He later sued the company and got $450,000 as compensation. And that's where a system is in place where you can get compensated. Now, the truth is that what pranksters don't realize that people are in various medical conditions.
Yes.
You know, so and it can lead to death. It can lead to someone attack.
We have a story. There was a young boy in the university. They were just playing. You know, when you go to then we didn't have. Now you can go. You want to swim. You go to a swimming pool. Then we go to the rivers to swim in the villages where we schooled then. And it was just, they wanted to prank him. They didn't ask him if he could swim or not. They just lifted this boy and threw him inside the river. Bwah. Before we realized it, this boy drowned.
Did he die?
Before. Drowned now. Drowned. He died. That was it.
I was hoping that maybe they saved him.
No, they couldn't. Before,
so even they could not swim?
They could not even swim. And then you're pranking people. Everybody came to learn how to swim that day. You're pranking people and you're throwing them. So it starts from a place of disrespect for other people. Let me tell you why I say disrespect. When you are doing something to somebody and the person says, I don't like it, and you insist and you keep doing it, that's how it starts. You feel, you must like it. Find a way to like it. Find a way to adjust to it. That is how I am. Find a way. And it gets us to a point where you now go around playing pranks on people without asking them. You don't care about their, like Mariah just said, about their health status. You don't know anything. You just believe that they will get used to it. They will come out of it. We will all laugh about this. We need to be very careful. And I like the fact that that guy sued the company.
Abroad.
When we start suing abroad, though, but we will get there. We'll get there. When you catch somebody, you know how these things work. You may not be able to do anything to those little ones because they don't have, you know, the kind of person you want to sue, they'll not be begging you to give them money for transportation to come to the court. You don't want that. You will not catch a big person who is found doing the same thing. The big person will be the scapegoat. And that's where government must come in and individuals willing to sue people.
Big person.
Let me take this call from Sheung. Good morning, Sheung. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning. Good
Morning.
lady.
Good morning.
Congratulations, Mariah,
Thank you,
on
sir.
the book launch.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, great morning. Yes, on the prank issue, I think there should be a body that will look into, you know, our content
Cost of governance.
creation, because a lot of it is not, you know, we're not patriotic. One, it's mischievous. Two, so we should look at, government should begin to look into the content. There should be requirement for content, you know, content creations. And, you know, because we want a lot of likes, a lot of comments, a lot of, you know, shares, because we need money. So, and then in Nigeria, we do more of bad news. Because, you know, the thing is that bad news travel far, bad news sell faster. So we do a lot more. So there should be a body that will be responsible for, you know, for that. We should reel out, you know, requirements. I've seen some beautiful pranks that you will laugh yourself out. The content very educative, you know, and again, maybe because we are not that creative here. You know, there are good creative content, you know, I mean, in respect to that pranking. Good one, not all these horrible ones that we share around. And it's because lawsuit in Nigeria is not that strong. If not, a lot of all these prank stars would have gone to jail.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Obejolo was saying make them pay. Most people who have money or who are big people will not bother doing that kind of thing. So the best bet for them, the best result is put them in jail. Just lock them up so that the ones coming behind will not try it. Because if you go and do the prank on someone and you kill somebody by mistake,
Let's
you
take
know,
a few comments on social media. Let's looking for some who have. I mean, I know that I know that this is not a Nigerian problem. I mean, across the world, people have played pranks and be gotten in trouble. But it's just that we've not really taken it seriously. We've not paid attention to the effects of it here. Maybe now that the police is getting involved, hopefully we can ensure that people understand the do's and don'ts. So, I mean, we can get a joke. There's some pranks that are actually fun, that can actually be interesting and engaging. But there are better ways of doing things.
You know the story that they always tell us when we're growing up, the boy who cried wolf, where you do something and you say it's a prank, and then when it truly happens, nobody will come out. So that particular one, I think you and I mentioned, where a girl was dropped off as if she had just been killed by a ritualist. And you need to see the number of Nigerians that came out, and you could see they were visibly shaken by what they had seen. What if it happens tomorrow? It really happens tomorrow. They'll walk past. To walk past and think it's just another prank, especially in a place where we know that this is a problem that we are facing. So I really am happy that the police has decided to weigh into this matter. But Immaculate Boy here says it seems it's only when things get late or it affects us that we now take it serious. So he's thinking that this is something that we've always done, but nobody has done anything about it, and it's a bit late. But it's better late than never. I'm happy that we're doing something about it.
And I don't think it's something that we've always done.
They just started gradually increasing the extremism.
Once social media came, people just saying you can develop content. How do you draw the numbers? How do you get people to follow you and like
It has
you?
to be evil content.
Yeah, so, and evil.
The good one I'm doing
evil.
now, they've not gone to subscribe to my channel.
Evil sells. Sex sells. Those are everything bad like that. Those are things that will attract people's numbers to you. But you know that it's, as I say, but I don't want us to lose the fun part of pranking, because they're two sides of this. Pranking can actually be fun. If we let loose a bit, pranking somebody can, so it's ensuring that we don't make it look like all pranking is bad. There can be nice, fun pranking, but it must be done properly and tastefully. So that
pranking, you must register your company if you're a pranking company. Yes, you have to. So that when you are found even to protect yourself, you find yourself in a dicey situation, you can even say, I'm a registered prankster. I'm show your card before someone blows off your head or takes a bottle.
Let me take this call.
It's important to register yourself.
Good morning, Favor. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning.
Morning.
Congratulations.
Thank you, madam.
You look so beautiful that day. Yeah, Frank. Oh my God. This Frank thing is getting out of hand. I personally, I do not like Frank at all. And my advice is to content creators. If they want to prank, don't prank in a public place, because you don't even know the status of some people. If somebody is hypersensitive, it can take somebody's life. Maybe you should prank your prank in your bedroom or where people that you know are. That is my contribution.
Okay. Let me go on a break. When I come back, we'll bring in our first PR. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we're told that our guest, unfortunately, can't be with us because he needs to attend other official matters this morning. So we'll bring him back some other time. But in the meantime, I'd like to take a few messages on this prank so we can move on to another topic. But do you have any comments on social media that we can take right now?
Yes, I have a few on YouTube. And Nam says, this black clown doing useless clowns, going into people's houses and other nonsense pranks and trying to play victim is easy because I am black. He's lucky he's not in a place the police would have had a blast. I think for a prankster, someone else. Yeah. So Gania says, most of these pranks are usually very annoying, especially that Trinity guy. He once asked to use my premises for a skit. I declined immediately because our values don't align. Moritala Akande says, another thing about these pranks of a thing is by the time a prankster will want to pass a useful information that is capable of rescuing people from danger, people may not take him or her serious. Gbenga Oladele says, now wow, in as much as I don't support prank that goes extreme, I also think there are lots more important things government should look into, not people struggling to put food on their table.
At whose expense?
Yeah, exactly. That's the question.
Then Akonitaiwo says, whoever wants to prank should prank his family, not the public.
Exactly.
So whatever happens belongs to you and your family.
Okay, so I think that's a nutshell, but we're going to wrap up on this. I think in a nutshell, the truth is that we need some kind of regulation around pranking.
Yeah.
There are pranksters who do this professionally. there are ways of doing it. We don't want to take the humor away from pranking. It can be fun. It can be interesting. I've seen pranks where people felt that they're coming to work somewhere and they get into the house. And maybe for example, there's a maid and she was hired to come and clean up a hotel room. And she comes in there and thinking she's cleaning up, and she finds this big large cash, and she's wondering, is this mine or she? So they're not trying to prank her to see, okay, is she going to keep it or going to hide it or going to report it? Either way, at the end of the day, she gets it as her gift. And we're all happy and excited. It's a nice love story, a nice good story. So there are ways of doing it that is a bit more, that is more interesting and lighter and fun than these ones that, as you said, morbid and can be very, very discomforting and disturbing to watch.
You can have heart attack, like those ones, those girls, those hookup girls.
Yeah. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, excuse me, Apostle Chibuzo Chinyere is in the news again. And the reason why we're talking about him again is because Deborah, if you recall, the young girl from the Shehu Shagari College of Education, Sokoto State, who was stoned sometime last year, but was May 12, 2022. Deborah, a female student at that university, was killed by Islamic extremists. And after that incident, Pastor Chibuzo relocated her family to Port Harcourt. They were originally from Niger State, where they had their own family system. He moved them to Port Harcourt, and according to the report that we have, he had actually provided them a deed of a house. He was saying that they can live in one of their the estates owned by his church, which is OPM. That's what they thought. They offered them a new life. He offered to place them in one of the OPM's free estates where they wouldn't have to pay rent at all. But recently, the family came forward to say that their landlord is asking them for rent, and they were also saying that they were abandoned by the church, although they did acknowledge that their children do attend the free school, which is provided by the OPM. And in the beginning, they had that support, but unfortunately, it faded off after a while. And they're now asking to go back to Niger State, where they do have a support system. But the conversation is bringing up different angles. Some are saying that, must we begin to regulate helping benevolence? How do we ensure that when somebody offers to help, how do we monitor the help all the way and ensure that it's done a certain way? That's one. Secondly, it's been 11 months of some kind of empowerment. I think he got them a car, he got them a house. You would think that in 11 months, somebody who's been giving you something free would expect that you're also able to, provide for yourself or keep yourself somehow. In different ways, how do we help people without it coming right back to bite us? Because that's what this is looking like. We discussed this, I think, last week with the young men who went to, is it Turkey, or they went to Turkey?
Greece.
They went to
Greece.
Sorry?
Greece.
They went to Greece.
Is it Greece?
Cyprus.
Cyprus.
Yes, they were in Cyprus,
Yeah,
actually.
they say Mama and Papa Bombo.
And those young guys had to, they complained that they were also, quote unquote, abandoned. So what are your thoughts on this? How do we fix this and ensure that it doesn't happen again?
First of all, when I watched the video, he showed them 14 apartments and he gave them deeds that they are now landlords and they will be collecting rent.
Hey.
So that was empowering. If you watch it, that was empowering. So you would have thought he was empowering them, but I guess it wasn't true. They did not own the houses and they could not collect rent. So he was not really empowering them. I believe that if you are going to help somebody, help them, go all out and help them. And if it has passed your power, please, it has passed my power, I can't help you again. I'm now beginning, the trend of him helping people and then he falls, has something happened to him? Is he coming into some.
But is it that we
financial
Nigerians are just so entitled that once you help me, I want you to be there for me forever and ever? Is that possible? Can you help somebody forever?
No, but remember, you gave them deeds that you are the owner of this house now.
So
So
that is
already-
obviously not help now.
Eh?
That is not helping. That is based on deceit. You are lying to people. That's not helping. So I think maybe somebody should write a book on the art of helping people efficiently, so that you know the boundaries of whatever help you want to give. And why are you always the one in a hurry to help? What is wrong? Is there something wrong with your psyche?
I'm a good man. I want to help people.
Dangote is a good man.
No, he's
and
not. He's a businessman.
Hello, he's not a philanthropist.
He's not. We can define. We can
He's not a
define. We can define.
He's a
it.
There are ways that you do these things. You must have systems in place that would help you. And you don't help in the extreme. So you lifted this family away again from their hometown. You could have found a kind of help within that place that would give them that means of livelihood to sustain them for a bit. You lifted them again to another place and abandoned them. The same boys you lifted from one place to another, and then you leave them stranded.
I don't want us to use the word abandon, because these people
You
say
left
that
them
the school, they're not paying for school fees. They're not paying for school fees. Their children are going to free school fees. So it's not really abandoned. The church was there for them, but maybe they also expect them to do something.
Sustain it.
Yeah, sustainability could be what we can say.
So, first of all, I think let's discuss the gift itself.
Yeah.
Was there some deceit in it, which is, I have given you a deed of a house, and you're now landlords, and you can collect rent. So you've given people the gift they think they are collecting is also a source of livelihood. So, and if that is the case, it means that I don't need to go out to look for a job. I now have a source of livelihood. I have a job. I'm a landlord.
Yeah.
I collect rent. And so my day-to-day living, I will be able to handle it. And then if that comes, if that's your belief, if that's what was communicated to you, and then you find out a year or 2 years later that that's not the case, that means you have taken away the possibility of me working. If I know exactly what this gift you're giving me is, I know exactly what else I need to do, but you have lied to me that this gift is much more than, or is much less, and then now I found myself stranded. So we're not saying that the man has done a bad thing in being generous. We're saying what he has done is that he lied about the extent of his generosity. So if you say, I'm sending your children to school for free, in my own school for free, and these parents know that, okay, it means we have to work for our daily living. It means we have to provide for our eating and our feeding and pay our rent. But when you say our rent has been covered, our source of livelihood has been covered, our fees has been covered, okay, that means we can now do other things. So they were deceived in such a way that they did not realize that they did not realize that they had to do more for themselves. Now, when you talk about comparing and saying that some people are philanthropists, I like how she brought it up. We have a Bill Gates. He's a billionaire in dollars. We have Aliko, he's a billionaire in dollars. We know the sort of work that Bill Gates is doing across Africa.
Yeah.
He's not in people's house, 1, 2, 3 in your homes, but he's putting in, he has a foundation and he's helping hundreds and thousands of Africans. And the people who are receiving the help there, wherever they are not saying, Bill Gates has paid for my HIV drugs or my polio drugs, but he did not pay my rent. But he did not, they're not entitled to anything more because they are sure they've been communicated to what it is that they are receiving for free. So that's what we're talking about. Generosity is not the problem, but you are lying about what you're giving.
Let's be careful.
Miriam is a very nice person.
Wait, because
this is not generosity.
Wait, no. Let's be careful.
No, this is not generosity.
This is an apostle, right? Now, a lot of these Bill Gates guys, they put systems in place where I'm alleging, where you put a system in place and maybe corrupt Africans take 90% of the money, and the real work that Bill Gates wants to do to Africa, they only get maybe 5% of it. This is a man who's actually presiding over people he can see and can help directly. You don't need a system to pay you 5% of 100% of what I'm doing. So he's an apostle. Now, because he's an apostle, they have schools, they have hospitals, possibly they have estates. And he said, okay, a girl was killed by Islamists. Let me bring you. So the intention was right. he brought you home. Now, maybe then he wasn't thinking that, let me leave you in Niger State where you are. Nobody will think about, let me bring you where I can have a bit of supervision. He brought you, it's been 11 months, YK. Somebody relocates you, put you somewhere 11 months, and you're still there waiting for handouts.
No, you are not
I'm not getting it.
See
So-
the video.
Okay, go ahead.
The video is here. The video, it showed them like 14 apartments. You are the owner.
You're collecting
I don't remember him
You will
saying
be-
that.
The video,
The video is here.
He didn't say you're the owner of the whole thing.
Ah.
He was
But
giving
please,
him the.
during the break, I'll
But you
play
see,
for you.
we don't have his side of the
Okay,
story,
okay, so
right?
we'll-
So we're going by this one side. Yes.
yes,
We don't
we are.
have.
No,
We've
we are
not
going
spoken
by
to
the
him.
The video side.
We've not heard him
mouth.
side because
Yes, the video side. So, Mariah, let me break something down to you. To be generous is not to be I don't know, I can't get the word I want to use right now, but the thing is, you cannot be generous and be deceitful, and you say you have a good intention. We cannot see your intention. We don't know your heart. That's why God says, do not judge because you don't know the motive. We are assuming that because he lifted them at the time of trouble, that his motive was to help them. It may not be. Because it's the results. They say, by the fruit you shall know them. It's the result of the action along the way that will make us now start speculating what could be the motive. And if for every good that you receive, and people are sitting there asking, what is the motive of this? That means you have missed it. So we don't
They're
know
not
the
paying
motive.
school fees, though.
No, that's, hold
Okay,
on,
BC,
hold on.
talk
The
to that
motive
part.
could
They're not paying
also
school
be,
fees,
hold
though.
on. The motive could also be that I just want to do this so that people will see that I am doing, but I have no intentions. Do you know it's possible? Because you cannot give something you don't have. He gave something he didn't have. A house that belonged to somebody else, he presented it to these people, told them they can collect rent for the house. He didn't have it. He took those boys there. He didn't have the capacity to finish it. He could have done the help in such a way that it will not be overwhelming at any point in time with the little resources, and then you spell it out. This is to the level I'm going to get you to, and then from here you can pick up. So you're not sitting down, your life has been altered, and then you start complaining that, brother, what you promise is not what you're giving. And people are saying you're entitled. Okay. There's a difference.
So where I agree with you is that there is no system to ensure that our benevolence is well, there's a system around this benevolence. There's not, that didn't happen. This is just one person that woke up and said, let me see, how can I help this family that just lost their child? Let me see what I can do. If I send you money in Niger State, I don't even know if they're going to use the money appropriately. Let me bring you to my own area,
And
get you a place. Not lie to you. It's possible. I don't want to believe he's an apostle, for heaven's sake. How would you think he would lie? He would intentionally lie.
Okay.
I don't.
Human beings.
I don't expect him to lie. I don't want to believe he would intentionally lie. I think the idea was to bring. The idea was to bring. Listen, you have to understand who we're talking about. Let's give him the benefit of that doubt.
No, let's give you perspective. Maybe we should.
You know, let me tell you. Sorry, Miriam, when you did the one about the Cyprus kids, I felt, you know, if you didn't help, you find your way. You're in Europe, you can go and get jobs. You don't. But this one, he had done pass himself. So I hope it's not that he's collecting money from people.
YK. Nobody's talking to the fact that they're not collecting school, they're not paying school fees. Their children are going to school for free. Does that happen in Lagos? Can you go to school for free in Port Harcourt?
Did they come
Yes,
to
there's
him?
free school in Lagos.
No, really. The point I'm trying to make is that
him or he came to them. Did they come to beg him or he came to help
man
them?
should have just stayed in his house.
Honestly, it would have been better for everybody because this
Because
was a lie.
then Nigerians will say with philanthropies don't help people.
No, that's not what we're saying. Mariah, let's
True
not.
philanthropists. Sorry, Miriam again.
okay.
True philanthropists, they don't boast about what they do.
You do
They
it
just do
gradually.
it. This one, you go to the TV. I have given you all these houses. You will not collect rent again. And then you don't do it. That's not a philanthropist.
That's a liar.
See, if I say to you, your children are going to school for free, and then you find out that they were sent out of school because they did not pay fees, would that not bother you? Would you now? Okay, let me give it to you.
Please.
Exactly. Okay. Mariah, your children will go to this school. They will not pay fees, and then you have decided, good. Fees are sorted. Let me use my resources to do other things. Then 2 years down the line, they tell you your children have been sent out of school because you didn't pay fees. And then you hear BC say, Mariah has been, those children were sent to school for 2 years. Didn't she know that it was time for her to start paying fees? You were deceived into thinking that fees were going to be covered. You were saying you were giving scholarship, full scholarship for the years that you'll be in school. Third year down the line, they send you out of school. And then people are saying, you've been in that school for 3 years. Why did you know that you should have been paying your fees? But I was told that my fees have been paid. So
For
that's what
life.
we're talking about.
For your
You have
education.
said that this is the gift I'm giving you. Mariah, let's say I give you a jewelry. I say, this is gold. Have it. And then one day down the line, you want to sell your gold, find out that it's Pangolo I gave you.
I'm telling you.
It happened
Do
to
you
one
understand?
girl
Okay,
like
okay,
this.
YK,
It
YK.
happened to one
YK,
girl. She had
this
one
is-
sugar
this is
like
the part.
he was giving her gold like this. and she was saving
didn't
it.
know gold.
No gold inside though. When the man can't leave her, she said you can keep the jewelry. Now she go, because now she was broke. She go pawn the gold. They said this is not gold. Omo, she was stranded.
Okay, so this is how I look at it. Being responsible. So somebody's child died, right? It brought you, somebody was kind enough to give you a house, albeit, okay, is it by house, is it rent, whatever it is, you have a new life. Is it possible you try to engage your benefactor? You know what, sir? This Port Harcourt is not helping me out. Can you please relocate us? We want to go back to Niger State. There are ways of doing these things. If you're a responsible recipient of this help, you will get a job. He gave them a store. He bought them a store.
A fake one? Or
Give me a
like
fake
live
store.
one?
Yeah, listen, guys. Let's be real here.
It's video
Because we are
games,
so
you
used
know.
to collecting handouts in our country. Listen, we are so used.
Don't worry, we'll go on break.
Have you one show?
When we go on break.
We are so used to collecting handouts in our country that we want them to do everything for us. Let's sit back and let government do everything. The truth is that in this situation, somebody got you a store. Somebody's paying your children's school fees. Somebody got a house, albeit even if it is rent. Now, this your store, you haven't done it. You probably haven't had a store. We don't even know the circumstances. And we're only speaking from one side. We've not heard from Apostle Chibozo himself. We don't know the circumstances of this, of what he gave them. The point is that Nigerians must take responsibility. I have helped you so thus far. There's something you should do to meet me halfway.
Can I just say something?
Don't say anything, Why? I'm going on a break. We'll be right back. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We need to wrap up on our previous conversation because we have our guest in the house already. But to wrap up, let me just say that the truth is we must be truthful to ourselves. We understand Nigerians and we're encouraging Nigerians to be helpful because one of the complaints we've had on this show is that rich Nigerians, they help. We want to see them do more to help people directly. However, if you're going to help, you must help right. It must not be deceit. There must be clarity on what's been given and what's expected back. Timelines on what you get and what you don't get. These things, I think, going forward, it's a learning curve for everybody who wants to help, especially men of God. I like to always try to believe that these are upright men who have good intentions. But you see, as you said, every man is a man, every human being is a human being. You never know how things are. So the truth is that we don't know how.
And they should audit him.
And we'll see how that goes. But we have to wrap up on that. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, on this segment, which is our health segment, we'll be commemorating World Sickle Cell Day, which was yesterday. It is a day set aside to raise awareness about sickle cell disease and its impact on individuals, families, and communities worldwide. With us right now is Madam Niniola Philip Ade Leye. She is a sickle cell survivor. Welcome to the show, madam. It's good to have you.
Very much.
We know you're 60 plus.
No, I'll be 60 in August.
You'll be 60 in August. Congratulations. We're looking forward to your celebration because there's always this perception that when you have sickle cell, you don't live past the second age. And you've done so well. Tell us about your sickle cell journey and where you are today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
For every other person that has sickle cell, it's been a tough story. So mine is not an exception. It's been very tough since my childhood days. I just began to stabilize maybe when I turned 45. Wow. When I mean stabilize, it's not as if I'm crisis-free. It's not as if I don't have the bone crisis any longer. But now I know, how to prevent the onset And when it comes, I know what to do before I have to go to the hospital. So that has helped me really much. Like I said, sickle cell is a terrible disease for anyone to pass through. So many sorry tales to talk about. Times and times again, doctors have told me things, that maybe short of you're left to die or things like that. And somehow, I've always pulled through. So I can say my success is based on the God factor, the grace factor, more than any other thing.
Are there things that you've learned to eat or not to eat to prevent the crisis?
That's very, very germane. We should know what agrees with us. We should know what's good with us, for us rather. I drink lots of water. The water therapy has been a wonder to me, It's done a real lot for me. It's done me so good. And I recommend it for others. The more water we take, the less pains we have, the less crisis we pass through, because the water helps to flush, the organs and every other thing. There is no accumulation of a yellow matter called bilirubin when we drink lots of water. So the eyes are clearer and system is, healthier, and we are able to do a lot more. In fact, it takes me off antibiotics more.
Water.
Yes,
Water. Natural.
Yeah. Do you have people who are like you who have gotten to this age? Do you have like a community of a few people who have survived?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
We have quite a lot of us that are in the bracket of 60. Some are maybe 59, 58, 57. And we even I've recently met 2 people. They are not in Nigeria. One is a Nigerian, the other is an American. 67, 69. And they are doing so well for themselves, I particularly went out of my way to get close to them so that I too can know, what keeps them going, plus what I know already. A lot of us are doing really well now, because we know what to do.
Okay.
So I would just
We
like
know what to avoid.
So, you've just explained to us some of the lifestyle things you're doing, like with the drinking of water. You didn't say anything much about food. Are you able to eat anything? And then thirdly, I would just like to know, like, what have you been able to do or not do? Like schooling, working, traveling. How has that affected you? And or is it a challenge that you didn't have to go through?
Let me talk about the food aspect. There is basically nothing we cannot eat, Maybe sugary food. We avoid sugary food because sugar causes inflammation for everybody, not just sickle cell patients.
Yeah.
So I, in particular, I don't take sugar. I avoid sugar, and it has helped me a lot. Leafy vegetables are very good for us. We should eat right. There's a difference between eating well and eating right. Going to eateries, buying food and buying all sorts is not really about eating right. But when we eat freshly cooked vegetables, not the one that we have left over for 3 days, freshly cooked vegetables, it goes with every of my meals, my pap, my yams, my rice. I don't eat rice just like that. It must be accompanied with something. So that has also played a good role in my
Let's talk
well-being.
Let's talk about family, because I know a few people who had sickle cell back in the day, and one of their greatest fears was starting a family. Saying that, can I get married? I have children. And that fear was always there. I know a few people who did get married. They had kids. They were also being careful on who I marry. Those kind. Did you have that experience in picking, or did you? How was that for you?
Well, to the glory of God, I've been married for about 30-something years. and I'm still in the marriage working for me. But while growing up, the fear was instilled into me because back then, not so much medical help was available. So the fear was instilled into me. You can't get a husband to marry you. You cannot have children. But somehow, even as a little girl, I was positive that I would get married and I would have children. Even when my people around me, I mean, my mother, my siblings, you know, they had given up on me and said, everybody was just waiting for me to die. But fortunately, I got a good man to marry, you know, who's always been there to nurse me also through the years. And it's been good for me. But a lot of people have not had it so good because of the stigma. And especially those that have the features show prominently. People just say, in fact, they told my husband now, who was my fiancé, his friends told him, you want to carry coffin? You want to marry her? You want to bury your wife newly? No, it was just God sent. He was bent on marrying me, and he married me, and we're still together. Children,
so were you specific about checking his genotype as well?
I was. When he brought his genotype, that it was AA, from his own hospital, I insisted
to check in
that
yours.
he did it, you know, in my own hospital because, you know, men can be
funny.
So I made double check that.
Yeah.
We ran the test twice and it was AA.
Fantastic.
Did you ever get any attack while you were pregnant?
Several.
Wow.
My pregnancies were very traumatic. All my pregnancies,
How many
very
children do you have?
traumatic. For each of my pregnancies, I practically had to live in loose till I had them, you know, for every of my pregnancies. My doctor, then Professor Ajayi, would stipulate no going home. No, so I lived in the hospital for about 7 months for each of those pregnancies.
You know,
because they were quite traumatic.
I have somebody around me who AS, and she fell in love with another guy who's AS. And immediately she said she's not doing it. But I was trying to encourage her. I said, listen, back then it's different from now. You know, this is the 21st century, and there's medical science to help you guys. You can pick the eggs, you can cancel this, you know, go with love. I was trying to make this person understand. What would you advise? Do you think it was a good advice or bad advice?
My advice is a capital no to AS and AS, in spite of the so-called medical help that we have now. Because the main help that we have now is a stem cell transplant. You know. That is when they now come together and they have sickle cell children. But how affordable is it to every one of us? How affordable is that? And then I've even read of people that have done it, and after some years, they still have crisis. I don't know how true about that, but I've read about it. So it's better not to match two exchanges together. No matter how strong the love may be. The moment one partner discovers that other partner also has an ACE gene, it's an end to it. You don't want to, you know, bring an innocent child to the world suffering the worst kind of pain that you can ever imagine. It's not worth it.
I have an auntie who it was really bad. I think a few months ago she lost the other son. She had lost 2 now, and it was, you know, when she called, I could hear so much pain. I could hear regrets, not only pain, because at the time they were planning the marriage, a lot of people were against it. But you know, the love and Christianity, we pray about it. God is for us, and now she has lost 2, and you know, she kept telling me that she would never advise her enemy to do what she has done, and now she knows better. But you know, I think one of us asked you a question before. Did it affect your career in any way? What sort of jobs are you allowed to do or not to do?
It affected my education.
Okay.
I grew up with my mother, even though my father was still alive, but they lived apart. I grew up with my mother who was not educated. So my growing up was very bad, like I said. And I was very intelligent, but she was so exasperated with taking care of me that she now told me that, Niniola, after secondary school, you're not doing school again. And she woke away, you know. So no one around her to tell her that, no, this girl could go further. So that was how my education stopped. Unfortunately for me, when I got married to my husband, it was just too much in love, you know, to say, come and go back to school. You know. So I just, after secondary school, after some years, I just went to a private catering school to learn some cake making, and that's all about my education. I would have wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a media person also. You know.
You're pretty.
Amazing.
That's
So
one
pretty.
of the ugly faces of sickle cell disease, you know.
It truncates your...
It can affect us, you know, can stalk our education, stalk our career. In fact, when I was working, I went for a job interview at the then Nigerian sugar company, Bachita, and when they discovered that my genotype was SS, they wanted to stop me from taking the job. So that was...
There was discrimination, yeah.
And I was very upset with them. I told them, give me a chance. There's nothing, you know, any other person can do here that I cannot do. Give me a chance. Fortunately for me, Grace also spoke for me. They gave me a chance. And I worked there till I got married and came to Lagos.
How would you say the support system in Nigeria is? You know, people who have sickle cell, are there I know there's a sickle cell foundation, but how accessible are they? And are there communities? You know how abroad, if an alcoholic goes to a community where they're alcoholics and can get some kind of system, is there a community for sickle cell where every single person who has sickle cell disease can come to get support? Do we have enough of it in Nigeria?
We have a lot of NGOs trying their best, you know, to help alleviate the suffering of, you know, those younger ones. But then, funding is a problem for all of them. Even if you ask people to come around, what dose can you give them? What help can you give them? Those that need surgeries, those that need, you know, some other maybe tests to run. All these NGOs don't really do much in funding. They do what they can. I think it should fall on the government. You know, they should give us some health policies that can help us access, you know, medical care more easily than what obtains right now.
We have to wrap up. Is there any final message for? Because the World Sickle Cell was yesterday. Was a theme for this year's?
It's advocacy time, and all I want to say is no to incompatible
genotype.
No to genotype incompatibility. Anyhow, anyway, please. I'm a pastor to the glory of God. People come to me and say, Mommy, God has helped you. Is there, it can also help us. I tell them, no way. No way. I don't recommend them. I don't give them consent to go ahead.
Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you, ma.
That's
Thank
all
you
we
for
can
coming.
take on this segment, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.